I totally get what you're saying, and I love the message, and it's, really shifted things for me. The issue I'm having is how to talk to other people. For example, I've been in recovery in AA for almost 20 years, and I've sponsored many women. And since I've had this shift of knowing there's no past, no future, nothing to regret, I'm like really struggling how to sponsor, how to talk to these women. And even going to AA meetings is a real struggle for me, and I can't relate anymore. So I was wondering if you could give me some guidance on that.
Are you afraid to lose something? Are you willing to lose everything? And I don't mean that in some kind of hyperbolic way. Are you willing? I'm not saying you have to. I want to answer this in two ways. First of all, I want to answer it in a very ultimate way. Are you willing to lose that 12-step program and the sponsorship?
Yes.
I'm not saying you should. I'm not at all saying that.
No, I am.
So that's why I say, are you willing to be nothing? Because it could be that, and I know 20 years of being in AA, it's something to hold on to, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's an identity to be that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's good. It helped you and it helped many people. Nothing wrong.
Right.
But I'm just asking if you're willing to be nothing, to not have that any longer. What if that was gone now?
I'm good with that.
Okay. So that's the number. That's I would say the highest answer first, because one has to see for themselves if they're willing to lose everything. Doesn't mean you'll lose anything. You may not, but you have to be willing to be free. You see, I've lost everything in my life. Everything that's ever come is also gone. Everything, people, places, things, everything. You see, fine, no problem for me.
Your sobriety though isn't gone, is it?
I have no sobriety. I have nothing.
Okay.
Sobriety. I'm not a thing. I don't have sobriety. I don't have anything. You see, I never looked at it that way. My sobriety. Because I never went into AA. If my drug usage ended, it was kind of a very strange situation, but it just ended.
Right.
So I'm not comparing it with anything. That's just what happened here.
Right.
So I never thought of myself as being in sobriety or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
But I understand. But that's not my point. My point is, for example, so, okay, here, let me make a very personal example. And when I say this, I'm very serious about this. You are you're a sponsor for 20 years of AA. I've been doing this work for 7 years. And when I say this next sentence, I'm telling you the truth. If it ends in 2 seconds, fine, it's over, no problem. No problem. I have a life that's completely free. I don't need anything. And I mean that very seriously, Pam.
Mm-hmm.
This is not my identity, this work. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a musician. Right now I'm speaking. Tomorrow I'll be playing my guitar. That's it. And it can all go. No problem. So that's why I ask you, are you willing to be nothing? Is it okay for you? Is that enough?
Well, just today I was taking a walk and I was thinking about this issue, and I thought, all these women, if they decide they don't want me to be their sponsor, that's okay.
Right.
They can all fire me. I'm fine with that. I just kind of had that little conversation today before this meeting. Okay,
good. So that's one thing that you have to know for yourself, you see, and it doesn't mean that's going to happen, because so far, and I've felt this since the day one, at any moment this work can end, and no problem. What the hell? My whole life things have come and gone, no problem. Something else will emerge, and no problem. But so far 7 years it hasn't, and we'll see what happens, So my question is, who are you? Are you willing to be who you are, which does not need this work or your work or anything? It doesn't need anything.
Mm-hmm.
Your fulfillment, your completion, your wholeness has nothing to do with being a sponsor or me being this work or me being making music. My sense of fulfillment has nothing to do with any of that at all. And therefore, whatever comes, comes, and whatever goes, goes, and it can stay and it can leave. You see? So is that a recognition for you?
Yeah, more and more. I mean, when this
Okay.
first, yeah.
Okay. So that's the first answer I wanted to give you. The second answer is this. First of all, the work that I do, I never, ever, ever speak about it other than people who come to these meetings or my intensives because they're interested, because they saw the name of my book, which is very audacious. Liberation is the end of the spiritual path. I made sure it was very audacious to keep the riffraff away. Liberation is the end. So if someone comes to this meeting, they know why they're here. And so then I'm free to speak about it. But I never in a million years speak to anyone else about it that doesn't ask specifically. So therefore, with your work, if it's been beneficial helping people for all these 20 years, then just keep doing it as you've been doing it. It doesn't have anything to do with your freedom.
But it just doesn't, it's not my experience anymore. It
Right.
feels fake. I'm not authentic anymore. It's hard.
Okay. Yeah, I understand.
It's fake.
Well, listen, so let me say this to you. I work with many psychologists, many therapists and psychologists, many, and many of them keep doing that work, and hypnotherapists and everything. And many of them keep doing that kind of work. And that work is beneficial still. And without consciously doing anything about it, their own freedom somehow informs that work even more. You see, it makes it even better without them trying to push freedom onto someone, or convince them that they should be free or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So for you, it could be that you can't do that work anymore because you don't believe it anymore. That's fine. Or it could be that it's still beneficial, and through your own freedom, without any conscious doing, your work is helped to be better. But I understand, because you have a very specific thing with the higher power and all this kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
And all the 12 steps.
Yeah.
That would be hard. That would be very hard for me to do. Of course. Well, I couldn't do it. I'm very limited. I only do this one thing. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't meditate, so I don't encourage anyone to meditate. I'm very simple. Just chop the head off.
I mean, the 12 steps, it's a beautiful form that helps prior to recognizing I'm nothing.
Yeah.
When I was very identified with being alcoholic, and that identity, and the 12 steps were very beneficial, going into the past, making amends. It's a
Right.
powerful paradigm, and I'm over it now, and I can't feel authentic.
Yeah, I get you, because that's the one thing that I never liked about it. People who get into that program they're going to be addicts for the rest of their life. You have to reify the fact that you're an addict.
Exactly.
And what happened to me is 20 years ago, when I had it doesn't matter my story, but I had a big epiphany, and I was a heroin junkie and a crackhead, everything, and it ended. And all my friends were in NA, and they were like, "Man, you better get in NA." And I'm like, "No, it's over."
Yeah.
They're like, "No, man, but you're an addict." I said, "No, I am not an addict." From day one, I said, "No, I am not an addict." And they're all still saying, "Yes, I'm an addict." Oh, okay. But you haven't taken drugs in 20 years, but I'm an addict.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fine. If it keeps people off drugs, it's fine. But if you want freedom like you do, for you, not speaking of your work, but for you, and you clearly recognize this, you're not an addict. You're nothing.
Yeah. It's hard to convey that.
Yeah, you can't convey that. No.
Yeah.
In fact, if you say that in NA, they're going to castrate you and send you down to hell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're going to hell for saying you're not an addict.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Pam. Go ahead.
It's just been a kind of rocked my world this past year of, kind of moving away from AA and not being able to sponsor the way I used to. It just, it's been kind of unsettling.
I respect what you're saying. I can totally get it.
In a good way, though.
But also, Pam, you know, it's not something that has to be a drastic move or something like that.
Yeah,
You, first of all, you're not the doer of anything. You don't create
right.
anything. You didn't choose to be doing this work. We can go through all of that. That's a whole process of recognition. But you didn't choose to be. You just, for whatever reason, like, and you have the proof of it is that you and all of your friends in NA, you're the only one that found this work, probably. Why?
Hmm.
You don't know. That's just what
Right.
happened. So you didn't choose this, did you?
No.
So you're not going to choose to end it either.
Okay. That's
So
helpful. Yes.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
It'll either fall away, or you'll find a reconciliation on how to work within it, or something else will emerge. And if your nature is to be helpful and sharing, then that will appear by itself. There's
Yeah.
nothing for you to do. You see.
Hmm. I guess I just needed the reassurance of that, and I appreciate your
You're
answers.
welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, Pam. It's very. I think it's very uh, respectful that for someone who's been doing that work, which is very insistent on a person who has a thing called an addiction with a higher power, which is very the opposite of this work. I think it's very respectful that you are courageous enough to step into this freedom. You know, that's a big. That's a big thing, man. I respect you for that. I really
Well,
do.
thanks. Thank you.
You're welcome.